Hello and welcome to Breaking Bread with Rivaaj Maharaj, where, as we say, nothing is off the table. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about the arrest of former Prime Minister of Nepal, K.P. Sharma Oli. So without further ado, let's get into it. I've come across an article in the BBC, Nepal's ex-PM arrested over fatal protest crackdown. Now, Nepal's former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli has been taken to hospital following his arrest over his alleged involvement in a deadly crackdown on protests last year. Oli was admitted to a clinic in Kathmandu as part of routine police procedure soon after his arrest at his home early on Saturday morning, officials say. More than 70 people were killed, many of them protesters shot by police during an uprising in September, which was sparked by a social media ban but fueled by anger over corruption and economic conditions.
Hello and welcome to the Times of India. You're watching Global Pulse with me, Neha Khanna. Nepal is burning. Corruption, nepotism and failure of the government to address the grievances of the youth have plunged the country into chaos, unrest and anarchy and brought the government to its knees. Within just 36 hours of the Gen Z protests erupting, the Himalayan country has witnessed the fall of the ruling regime. Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli was left with no choice but to resign along with his entire cabinet as the violent protests against his government over allegations of corruption kept intensifying by the minute and spiraled completely out of control, with the residences of the Prime Minister, the President and other ministers being vandalized and set on fire. The Parliament building in capital Kathmandu was not spared either, as angry mobs stormed the complex and set it ablaze. The Supreme Court building was set on fire as well. What's worse, the wife of a former Nepal Prime Minister, Jalanath Khanal, has died of serious burn injuries after their house was torched by the rampaging protesters.
Ex-Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak was also arrested on Saturday after a panel appointed to investigate the unrest recommended the pair be prosecuted for criminal negligence. Oli was admitted to hospital pending results from medical tests, and given his age and medical history of 2 kidney transplants, the hospital's information office told BBC Nepal. The arrest came a day after the nation's new Prime Minister, 35-year-old rapper turned politician Balen Shah, was sworn in following an election triggered by the crisis. They were arrested this morning, and the process will move forward according to the law, Kathmandu Valley Police spokesman Om Adhikari told Newswire agency France Presse. Oli, 74, and Lekhak, 62, have not been charged. Oli has previously rejected the findings of the commission, which also recommended the arrest of former police chief Chandra Kuber Kapung, telling the Annapurna Post they were character assassination and hate politics. His lawyers told Reuters his detention was unwarranted at this point in the investigation. It is illegal and improper because there is no risk of him fleeing or avoiding questioning, he said. Supporters of Oli's CPN-UML party have begun protests in Kathmandu after the party's secretariat decided to launch nationwide demonstrations. On Instagram, new Home Minister Sudan Gurung, who was a key figure in the protests, welcomed the arrest. "No one is above the law. This is not revenge against anyone, just the beginning of justice," he wrote. At least 19 people, including a teenager in school uniform, were killed during the so-called Gen Z protests on 8 September, when youth took to the streets over a government shutdown of social media sites. Coming amid frustration over high unemployment, a stagnant economy and corruption and nepotism in politics, the crackdown sparked broader rallies across the nation in which scores more died and parliament, police stations and shops were set on fire. Families of 76 people who died have been calling for officials to be held accountable in the months since. Oli resigned on 9 September but recontested the election, which was held on 5th March. Shah's Rastriya Swatantra Party's RSP won in a landslide, the first time in decades that a single party has garnered a majority in Nepal, which has an electoral format that makes it difficult for any one party to win outright. So K.P. Sharma Oli's been the leader of, or the chairman of the Communist Party of Nepal for a while now, and he's been involved in politics for a very long time. He's also been the Prime Minister for a significant amount of time. And if you'll recall, during COVID, there were some, the border between Nepal and India is quite porous. And it's common practice for people to move across freely to engage in trade and commerce and then go back home. And there were incidents where some I think it was some Indian citizens that were shot and killed at the border. And this, I remember, was during COVID. And Oli's party has been very closely aligned to China. So everything that they had been doing was in the interests of the Chinese government. So they were effectively stooges and puppets for the Chinese government and put in place to help destabilize relationships with India. Oli also, if you recall, had released a map where some parts of Nepal, where some parts of India were now being claimed by Nepal, and it was just antagonistic behavior towards India. And India has been a very staunch ally of Nepal. They've always come to Nepal's assistance, and they've regarded Nepal as a younger brother. But Oli's politics extends to every facet. Right down to issues regarding the Ram Mandir, issues regarding Ram and Ayodhya and Hinduism. So this is somebody that has really led his own country down a very destructive path only to help further his own personal interests, that of his friends and his party, as well as that of the Chinese regime sitting in Beijing. And now with the introduction of the new Prime Minister, Balen Shah, this 35-year-old rapper, and his party having come out and won an outright majority, there is a mandate there by the people. It's only a matter of time to see whether he then tends to pivot more towards better relationships with India, or whether he's going to continue along this policy of isolation and pivot more towards the Chinese. However, the arrest of Oli, I suspect, is a signal that the old guard is dead. Nepal is now looking to embrace a brighter future, and I honestly and truly hope that there can be some respite for the people of Nepal. They are wonderful people. I've worked with so many Nepalis here in the UK. Absolutely amazing people. Fantastic. And their culture, their cuisine, everything really amazing. It's just sad that they've been let down by the politicians that they had appointed. So I hope Balen Shah does something good for the people of Nepal, and does not get corrupted by the political process or by easy and cheap wealth that could be thrown at him. So time will tell. We're keeping a close eye on this, and I want to thank you for spending time with us. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode, and please remember to like, share and subscribe, as it helps us with the algorithm and it helps our channel to grow. Please feel free to post your comments, positive or negative. Either way, it's important to get the dialogue going, and please remember to subscribe. Thank you.